Hello everyone, welcome to the monthly NRHS Iowa Chapter YouTube slideshow. If you're interested in more information about the Iowa Chapter, please visit iowanrhs.com. There you can join the chapter or renew your membership and order any of the great products that the Iowa Chapter has to offer, including DVDs and photo collections. Please enjoy the program this month and consider visiting iowanrhs.com. Hello everyone. Before we begin this month's slideshow, I have a couple of announcements to share with you from the Iowa chapter. First off, it's the beginning of the year and it's time to renew dues. So if you are a current member and you need to renew your dues, or if you would like to join the Iowa chapter, now is the time. It's $15 for a full year. And you will get the quarterly Switch Lamp newsletter, which the Iowa chapter publishes. Lots of great articles and photos that come out in each issue. So go to iowanrhs.com and you can renew your membership there. Also, in April of 2023, we will be celebrating the 70th anniversary of the Iowa chapter. Again, please go to iowanrhs.com and you can reserve your seat at the spring meet. We're doing reservations because we're going to be serving a dinner. There's going to be a keynote speaker. We're going to be doing trolley rides in the afternoons at the old Threshers grounds. So make sure and go to iowanrhs.com and reserve your place at the 2023 spring meet by going to that website and placing an order for the dinner and reservations. And for my final note, the Iowa chapter does have a limited number of 2023 calendars available. Again, you can go to iowanrhs.com and order a calendar. We're doing pre-orders, but you can also order a limited quantity afterward as well. We're going to have a couple of extras printed, and make sure and go to iowanrhs.com to order a copy of the chapter calendar for 2023. The theme for this year's calendar is going to be the old excursions done in past years by the chapter. We have lots of great photos from some of the excursions that happened in the very early days of the chapter, and those are going to be what are featured on the different months of the calendar. So, again, all of these things can be done at the chapter website, iowanrhs.com. Thank you for tuning in this month, and make sure and check us out on the web. Hello and welcome to the January 2023 Iowa Chapter NRHS and Cedar Rapids Railfans slideshow. We are actually recording this show on the day after Christmas of 2022, and Dave Kroeger is here with me tonight. He will be giving us a program. Dave, why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're going to see?
Well, first of all, Happy New Year to everybody out there in YouTube land, and thanks for tuning in today. We're going to go back and look at some of my trips of 2022 around Iowa and different places. So I thought I'd share with everybody where I've gone and found some interesting things to have seen this last year. So
yes, we found a very colorfully decorated hopper. Is that how we're going to describe this?
That was sitting at the Heartland Co-op sighting in Nevada back January of 2022. I thought, we got to have a little humor. So whoever did that art job did pretty good. So
they did.
Yes.
Now, were you paying attention? Is this one of these solid Ferromex hopper trains?
Yes. There's probably about 50-some cars that were there that day.
And this was at the plant at East Ames, the pasta plant?
No, this was at Nevada.
At Nevada. Okay.
Heart of Iowa Co-op there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So this was grain loading. This was not the unloading.
Correct.
All right.
Grain loading. Yep.
Well, let's proceed on with the program.
All right. So this is like early January of last year, 2022. So up next, I was up here with Dana Grief on this day. It was a Saturday. We just thought we need to get out of the house for a while. This is what they call, I think this is the LTZ 40 job that runs out of Des Moines up to Mason City. It's the local. This is at Nevada on the Mason City side, downtown Nevada there. As you can see, it's quiet zone, so no horn or anything like that in Nevada, even on the main line too. Next slide here. This is kind of unusual. I don't think I've ever seen this, and if I did, it's been back in the Northwestern days. But we had an intermodal train coming east. I just noticed on this whole train, if you look, all are single container cars. There's no double stacks. It's all single containers.
Yes.
That's something you don't see every day.
Well, you almost have to wonder if that's something to do with a bridge clearance or a tunnel clearance somewhere that it was loaded that way.
It could have been, or it could be an empty move too.
Yep.
Yep. So that was just west of Colo there. Following weekend, this is January 20th, on a Saturday, I went down to Ottumwa. I had gotten a tip about one of the Heritage engines coming south on 260. But first, we get an empty Fruitland train coming across the Diamonds at Lawler, and our fellow track inspector, Russ Lyon, is parked down there giving an inspection on the train. Here's a Gallin, obviously a power move going to Lincoln out of Galesburg. I think the first couple engines are working, the rest are all dead in contest. Got a Ferromex back there too. There's the train that I was looking for. That's the 260, the 7015 coming down Rutledge Hill.
Is he coming down? No, there's a curve back there.
Yes.
I was trying to figure out, for a moment it looked to me like he had about a 25-car train.
No. It's a big mortgage lifter that day.
Yes.
Well, they're all mortgage lifters anyway.
They are, for sure.
Yeah.
But no, you're looking into the curve there.
Right, Caldwell Street up there, and that's where the curve's at. Yep, so. And then after the Fruitland train got in the yard, they started with the BN crew, got everything lined up, and now they're pulling down to the BN, and then we'll go west to Creston here. That's coming across the slough there in Ottumwa. Then you don't see this much. I don't see it much when I go down to Ottumwa anymore, but this is the Eddyville train out of Galesburg. Nice little classic EMD 40 lead and a couple early SDs back there. So that's kind of a nice little concept.
Yeah, are those the wide cab SD60s?
I believe so. 1400s. Yeah. Yep.
That sounds right.
Yep.
Those would have been delivered in white and green originally.
Yes, they probably would have.
Yes.
Long time ago.
Absolutely.
When we were younger. So I chased 260 again. I got a couple shots at the west end of Ottumwa, and then I went down to Blakesburg and got them there, coming underneath the bridge. Head south. This is January 27th. I had gone down to Clinton to visit my friend Randy Williams. A lot of you knew Randy that are watching. Randy was on his last days, unfortunately, but I had to go down and make another visit. And we had a good visit that afternoon, but in the morning I went up to 5th Street, caught a few trains. So here we have a Z train getting around a manifest at 5th Street, and if you can go to the next slide, here's something you don't see every day, a CRST trailer on a UP train. And
right.
Yeah.
So these are actually based out of Cedar Rapids.
That is correct.
But you see very, very rarely you see those.
I don't see them much up here. I see them down once in a while down on the BN through Fort Madison. And CRST, that was my first trucking job that I worked in before I went to TMC, of course.
Right.
But and they, even back when I was there, back in the late 90s, they were doing intermodal with BNSF at the time. So it's nice to see a CRST trailer on a train. Something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do those get taken into Chicago?
Yes,
to
they
get
do.
lifted into?
Yes, they go like Global 2, I believe, or Global 4, and then get deramped there, and I think they bring them back to Iowa. I don't know what they do as far as the intermodal goes, but I think that's what they do.
Now, the other thing that's very actually rare here is that they took a wheeled trailer and set it into a well car.
I know. Yeah, I've seen that a few times.
What in the heck are these guys thinking?
I don't know. Well, it's
those.
UP.
Well, but those wheels can drop through the bottom of the well car.
They can. They can.
It's been seen to happen. This is, I mean, maybe they figured out a way to make it work, but they got a FedEx trailer right behind it with the same setup.
Too. Yes. Oh, yes.
So
kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the K67 local that comes down from Savannah. They brought some cars into the yard there at Clinton. You can see the top of old Clinton Union Station there. And go to the next slide.
Well, we have to comment on the rebuilt, SD30 Eco?
30 Eco.
That they're calling these. I mean, they look for all the world like an SD45.
Yes, they
honestly.
do. Yeah.
But
a modern day SD45.
Right. But
without
these
the
are
fuel guzzling.
These, well, right, without the 20-cylinder engine block.
Yeah.
Yes. But these are rebuilt from the SD40 frames.
Yeah. And they're nice looking engines too.
Yeah.
All right, so I always like to throw people shots in once in a while, and there we have my friend Jeremy Dirks doing a little switching down there at Clinton. Jeremy, his grandpa was my late friend Lloyd Mangler. Lloyd was a Milwaukee road engineer, came through Marion, my hometown at one time, and I've gotten to know Jeremy over the last couple of years, and he usually works his Clinton job with, I believe, Jimmy Lem. Does that sound right to you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So I had to get a photo of him working. And then I had gotten a tip from Eric Rasmussen that there was a train evaluation coming.
Track evaluation.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Coming north. So, and these are cars I have not seen before. I don't know where the CP redid these at, but it's a nice looking train.
Yeah, this was the first time that I had seen this particular this 3-car set come down.
Yep.
It used to always be a box car and an observation car.
Yes.
That they had.
So I think what they did is they put I think the generator car's in the middle, if I'm not mistaken. I got better pictures, but yeah, I thought that was kind of neat. Neat looking train.
Yes. And another rebuild project from the CP. This is a Jeep 20
Echo.
Yeah.
Yes. So I got the train going across 5th Street there, headed up to, I think it went to Chicago this day. I think, no, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Maybe it went north.
Okay.
Clear to Dubuque, and then on further north that day, yes.
They actually have the observation car closed up.
Yeah.
They don't want people throwing rocks at them.
Probably not, no. But it's a nice looking train. Okay, now we're up to March 13th of last year. This is at Boone. And I kind of got lucky on this day. I got not one but 2 UP Heritage engines. This first one, 1996, looking like an SP engine that I can remember shooting back in the 90s, grungy, getting dirty. This is on a Tacoma Global 3 train, and they made a set out here at Boone. You can see engineers kind of looking back there, watching for hand signals and so forth. But yeah, that engine, I saw it here not too long ago, and it's getting a lot dirtier than I had seen it that day. So, and then here came Western Pacific 1983. This is out at Key Lane. A lot of trains, some trains that are eastbound that are too long for Boone will change out crews out here. This is at the east end of the High Bridge, this Key Lane. So, but they changed out here, and then the outbound crew came into Boone and did a little work in the yard. So here we're uptown.
This one is a little cleaner.
A little cleaner, yep. And this was the last of the Heritage engines I needed. I had gotten every one but that one up until that day. So,
all right.
Yeah, so it was a good score. It was a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're downtown Des Moines. This is Des Moines Switcher with an NS Jeep, taking it over to the NS, making a transfer there. That's downtown Des Moines. If we go to the next shot, we're down here at East 18th Street by the elevator there. And then the rail logistics park that we had the tour at the chapter in October be off to your left there.
Yes, where we literally had our fall meet.
Yes.
For the Iowa chapter at that location.
Yeah. This was April 9th. This is coming back from Marshalltown. I met my family for my dad's birthday. We met up there for lunch and kind of hung out. This is one of my places I like to hang out. This is the Clear Creek crossover between State Center and Colo. It's an eastbound ethanol train here with a CSX trailing out. And then I believe we have one of the afternoon birds. I think this is a Lathrop bird with 5 units on there. Going like a streamliner of old, 70 mile an hour.
Look at the number boards on that
Yeah.
leader. The right-hand number board versus the left-hand number board.
Yeah, I know.
It's almost like they made the right one with a typewriter.
Yes.
And they made the left one with like a massive, like the magic marker look that you normally see.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I noticed that too. I'm like, wow. And the next day, Dana Grief and I, we went out to Denison because they were working on doing some bridge work out there, or replacing a bridge. So this is one, again, another one of those mortgage lifters at Carroll going east early in the morning. I think this is an NPPR type train.
Yep. Auto racks on the head end and all kinds of manifest, it looks
After
like.
that,
Back
oh yeah,
in the back.
200 some cars, of course.
Oh yeah.
So this is what they were doing. They're putting in this new bridge at Denison. You can see they have a crane on each side, and that's the old bridge back there. That's the one that's going to be dismantled after they get the new bridge in place. If you go to the next slide, they got panel track here getting ready to be put in.
Mm-hmm.
I know Dana went back out here and kind of got some more pictures of it when they put the bridge in, and the old bridge is getting taken down. So it's kind of a neat deal to watch.
Were these the panels that they actually set into the bridge girders?
I believe it was.
Yeah.
And if not, then Dana can correct me if not. So.
Well, no, that would make sense. That with the concrete ties and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Here we have a westbound going over the old bridge there, so you can see more of the cranes back there and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a little black and white effect on this next shot. This is a empty. These are two empty grain trains in one for the spine line. This train was split at Boone, so there's like 2 units here, and then 75 cars, another 2 units, another 75 cars. So it's just they decided to run 2 empty grain trains into one to Boone, then they split it out right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this a? I'm trying to see. Is this around like Ogden?
No, this is Carroll. This is from
Carroll.
Highway 30 there, the junkyard in the background.
Okay.
Yeah, it's from Highway 30 there. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All right, this is April 23rd or somewhere around there. This is when we had our spring meet.
Fort Madison.
Yeah, Keokuk and Fort Madison. This was on a Friday, and it rained like crazy coming down. But when we got to Fort Madison, the rain lit up. We went up to the 35th Street Bridge overhead, and just hung out there for a while. And it was like train after train after train. And you notice on this number board too, on the engineer's side,
Totally missing.
totally missing on that
yeah.
one. Yeah, yeah. That's a Blue Island off the harbor there, Kansas City auto train there.
Okay.
Yep. And of course, you get the UP down there too. This is probably a Global 4 train.
Utilizing the trackage rights.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think this had a mid-train DPU on here too. But, every train we came by here when we were up there for a couple hours, crews would wave, extra horn. I mean, how good is that,
Yeah, pretty friendly.
Yes.
And I'm just looking at this, but it's 1, 2, 3. I guess is that 4 units or 5? I guess
There's
4.
4 units.
There's
on
4
that.
on the head end, and then you had said there's DPUs further back too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Alrighty, and this is downtown at the pedestrian overpass at the Amtrak depot there. I think I got Dana's backside back there if you can look on the platform.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's kind of a nice spot. A lot of people come down there to watch trains, of course. And of course, you got the Kingsley Inn back there in the background
Yep.
with their camera and so forth. And here comes number 3 into town with the 39 leading. And there we go. We're going to go to the next day. This is out at Ortho Road on the west side of Fort Madison before we headed down to Keokuk. Just a stack train. And if you look, that third unit back there.
You got a war bonnet back there.
Got a war bonnet back there. I think it's in the next slide here, too. Yep, 726.
Yes.
Yeah, a little toasted, of course, but hey, it's still red and silver, so you got to shoot. You know, I was told one time, a long time ago, when I started shooting, I had a friend tell me, if there's good power trailing, don't wait till you get it on the point. Shoot it now, because you know what? You may never ever see it again. So,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And we had one guy a long time ago in Cedar Rapids rail fans that used to say, "Well, I'll wait till I get it on the point." And then you know what? Never saw the engine again. So.
Well, and these Dash 9s are now getting to be the point where they're starting to be replaced.
Yes, they are, and some of them are going into Relco too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of them are getting rebuilt, definitely.
Yep.
Some are getting replaced.
Yep. Yep. This was the local power down at Keokuk. Nice to see a good old Jeep 30, or what they call
39.
It. 39.
Yeah.
You know what? There's still Jeep 30s in my
Well,
way.
right. They're, again, part of a rebuild program.
Yep. Yep. And then if you go to the next slide, I found this kind of funny. This 3194 liquid C424. Huh?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I wish.
Sure it was.
That was kind of neat. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wishful thinking on someone's part.
I know.
And you said this was in Relco?
No, this is at Keokuk.
Oh, this is at Keokuk.
This is the day of the meeting from
okay.
from last year. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. We went down there
No,
early.
I guess I've just got rebuild on the mine
Yeah,
now.
that's fine. That's fine.
He's got the caboose with him there, too.
Yep. Yeah, caboose there. There's still an old Rock Island hopper sitting in there. And now some of these cars are getting to be 40 years old to the point that you probably won't see much of them anymore.
Right. They're, as we get through the next, 4 or 5 years here or so, a lot of these are going to end up not being qualified for interchange service anymore. And they're just going to end up getting scrapped, honestly.
Yep. Yep. So shoot them while you can if you see them out there.
Yes.
And the KJ was working after our meeting, so this is their 4101 Old Canadian National Jeep, doing a little switching down there. And you can see off to the right, there's the track that leads to the Mississippi River Bridge crossed into Illinois there.
Yep.
Yep.
I always love the designations that the CN comes up with for some of these.
Yeah.
GR41AT.
Yeah.
Look, it's a Jeep 9.
Yes,
Come
it
on.
is. Yes, it is. I think they blanked out the dynamic brakes, it looks like, too.
They did. It was delivered with dynos, and at some point they disabled them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So I go back up to Fort Madison for the afternoon. I think you were up there with Keith and for a little bit. And got just train after train after train. I didn't include every train in the program, but then got to go to the Amtrak depot too. And it's very nicely done there.
Oh, yeah.
There's another UP train.
They have 4 sets of these running right now. Is that what we found out at the time?
I think there might. Well, last I knew, that was like one each way. Now that might have changed since the well, at the time I was told there was just one UP train a day each way. Now it might have changed since then. I'm not exactly sure. So now on Sunday when we were headed back home, we caught this coal train at Mount Pleasant. You can see it's got a 9700 and a swoosh scene. That's kind of a nice looking engine on the point there.
Yeah.
Good old Mac. Same train. And you can see the dip down there to the west of the depot there at Mount Pleasant. Yeah. Here's number 6 that day. A little late, but not too late. And I had one of those California units trailing back there.
Yes.
Okay. This is a Des Moines-Galesburg train. I'd gotten a phone call about this. Had a lot of old school EMD power this day. So this train's just departing Des Moines there from the NS yard on the southeast part of Des Moines. I didn't chase it all the way down. I just got a couple shots along the road here. This is just pulling out of the yard. So I blasted a few roster shots on some of the trailing power too. But it's kind of a neat little consist for 2022, I thought.
Oh, yeah. To get a green BN unit and a blue Santa Fe unit.
In the same consist. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and an old 60M back there too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that same train again, just down the road a couple hundred feet. And you have the Magellan Oil Terminal back there. And the NS was working down at Cargill that day too, so this is down around Southeast 43rd Street and so forth on the southeast part of Des Moines there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, you know, that shot that you had earlier of the Iowa Interstate train, they're still doing ferry moves for the NS.
They are still doing
to get power and cars in
Yep.
and out of Des Moines.
Yeah, they still are. All right, so this is Memorial Day weekend. Jeremy Dirks' brother, Matt, has a boat charter service that he takes people out on the river in Sebula there. So he's always been wanting me to go for a boat ride. So we went for a boat ride this on a Saturday afternoon. So I just took a couple pictures of a tug going through the draw there at Sebula from the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we were lucky enough to get a train. So this is taken from his pontoon. Now the power's not great because you can see somebody had a turbo fire on the 41.
Yes, they did.
But it's kind of a nice little relaxing boat ride. We went up north almost to Bellevue, then come back down the river to Pool 13, and then back into Sebula that way. So
Okay.
yeah. And then in the evening, when it got dark, I had my tripod, and Matt lives not far from the bridge here. Just walk outside his house and up the bank, and then there's the bridge. So I did a little night photography, and I don't usually do a lot of it in Des Moines, but I thought, we'll try it out here. And so I got a couple night photos of the Sebula drawbridge, and draw is open here for a tug that would come from the north. And then if you go to the next slide, that's train 253. I did a little time exposure on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's about 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. So the next day, Matt had a bunch of charters to take care of, so I did a little rail fanning up on the Marquette sub. This is K39 going north with 1BN motor, headed north towards Dubuque through downtown Bellevue. And that's K67 coming across the bridge there, going over to Samoa to do some work, and then I think it went down to Clinton. And then we have, I thought at the time, I was told the UP lost contract for the Portage coal trains, but my understanding is they're still running these UP trains. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you watch the webcams on the Marquette sub,
Yep.
you'll see
them on there.
2 or 3 of those every week.
Yeah.
Go by there.
Yeah. So this is a load going north, and right behind him was an oil train, empty oil train north with a nice little NS leader there.
Yeah.
And then we're at Green Island at the south end, at the road crossing. This is 261's train. Nice little KCS leader, and then they have some cranes down there. I think they were doing some culvert work, if I remember right. So
Okay.
they had 261 here, and they met a southbound grain train, 375. Yep, in the right there. And yeah, at one time, for people that don't know, this used to be the double track portion of the Milwaukee-Omaha line.
Well, right. The siding was the eastbound
Maine. Yeah,
at one time.
At one time,
And the siding is still the same jointed rail that the Milwaukee Road left behind.
Same rails I rode in 1971 on my first train
Yes.
trip. So yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that's,
Sorry, the siding was the old westbound Maine.
Yes, that's right.
I had it backwards. What's used for the Maine now is the old eastbound Maine.
Yep, and
Yes.
the siding was the westbound. But
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. Okay, so this is early June. This is June 11th. This was the last run of the 6988. I had a wedding in Ankeny that day, but I went over to Newton early in the morning and got a few photos of the steam crew working on the 6988 before it departed town for its new home in Silvis.
This was the really last run
That's
of
yeah,
the 6988.
last.
Yes,
Yeah.
we really mean it this time. This is the last
This is
run,
the last
guys.
one. I thought I had ridden the last run that October previous, but no,
Right.
this was the last run. So yes.
Yep.
So I got a few photos around there. You got the crew doing a little safety briefing there at Newton. And there's quite a few people around, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are coming off the shop lead there. And go to the next slide. I think I got it getting highballing out of town there. So yeah, they pulled freight on it too, with the two coaches and so forth. So yeah, it's nice to see, and hopefully someday after its boiler inspection, it'll run again.
So I have a funny story to tell you about this too.
Okay.
So on about Monday or Tuesday, they confirmed that this last run was really going to happen, and they were going to run all the way out to Bureau and back. And I had been talking to the guys that owned the building there by the Diamond in Grinnell.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'd been talking to them for about a month, and had literally on Monday, I had just sent them an email like, okay, if we got everything worked out, we got everything figured out. They come back on Tuesday and they say, or no, they came back on Wednesday and they're like, yep, we're good. MediaCom's coming. The internet's going to be installed. We are 100% go. I was like, I will be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I put that webcam up.
Put the webcam up. And
I put it up on Thursday,
Yeah.
and they were there on Friday. Or no, I put it on Friday, and they were there on Saturday. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. You
So,
did well.
Well, that's how much advance notice that they had that this whole thing was
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
getting pulled off.
This is Father's Day weekend. We met my family in Marshalltown for Father's Day lunch, and I happened to catch this Z train. It was stopped out west of Lamoille there. Then the dispatcher let him go, so I just got a quick grab shot. 3,000. I don't see many of these 3,000s anymore leading out here, unless somebody else does. Of course, I'm not up on the EP as much.
Right.
But it's a nice looking unit, clean. Okay, we're at about June 23rd, 24th. This is the Malcolm Fire Department train that the Iowa Interstate ran. I have several friends from Malcolm, including some on the fire department. And when I got told, well, first of all, they asked me first if I wanted to donate my DJ services for that weekend, which I did, because I've done a lot of stuff for Malcolm in the past for the fire department. And I said to one of the gals that's on the committee, I said, you know what you should do? You should see about getting a train for the fire department. Should see about getting a train for the fundraiser. And they said, hey, that's a good idea. You think we'll get the steam engine? I said, no, but you'll probably get 2 diesels on either end. So they ended up getting a train, and it ran back and forth between Malcolm and Highway 21 there east of Brooklyn. So I rode the first 2 trips. If you go to the next slide, there's the Brooklyn Depot there. And it's
Quite the impressive structure.
Yes,
they have.
it is. Yes, it is.
Yes.
And it's still there, too.
Right.
Yeah. And that's coming back into Malcolm. Just a shot of the elevator there and so forth. They ran about, I want to say they did 4 or 5 round trips that day. So, yeah. So, this is July 4th weekend. I was back home for my class reunion, and I took my little brother, Andrew. He likes to go for rides. So, we went over to Savannah, had a Manny's, and then I got word of this 852 coming down the river. So, that's at Bellevue, of course. And then we went up to East Dubuque. We heard 338 leaving town. And he wanted to know, well, gosh, is this really a CN train? Because you have 2 BNS motors on the point. So,
Right.
Yep. So, that was a mortgage lifter that day, too. So, and there's a little treat in the Dubuque yard that day at the Grand Trunk 4927. So, nice to see some Grand Trunk power still floating around. And then the next day, coming back home to Des Moines, I got word that the KCS Veterans Unit was trailing on a stack train. Now, that train on the left, that coal train, had a dynamiter and blocked the whole town of Belle Plaine for about an hour and 10 minutes that day. So, but yeah, that 8176, I think that train ended up going through Des Moines. That was a Global 1 LA train. And those trains usually come through
they
down
go
the spine line. Yep. Yeah. So there it is, KCS 4006. Not the best picture, but hey, I got a shot of it. So, and this is the following weekend, or a couple Saturdays later, Sundays later. I got a cab ride on the Boone and Scenic Valley because they've been wanting me to come up and volunteer. So I said, well, you know what? If I'm going to come volunteer, I want to at least get a cab ride. So, hey, we'll make it happen. So this is going up on the Fraser train. And we have the picnic train in the siding there at the gravel pit. And that's the guy who got me to volunteer, John Vilmain. John is from Boone. He was a Northwestern engineer who hired out in 1973, retired at the end of 2013. And he's been a volunteer at the museum every year since it's been open. And this coming year, 23, will be 40 years. since the museum opened up there. So yeah. So I got a cab ride with John in the Alco, and here we are coming about ready to go across Bass Point Creek there. So, and if you don't like heights, then don't look down.
Yeah, don't look out the window.
Don't look out the window. Okay. Another big thing that happened this last year was UP got rid of their automatic train control now with PTC and so forth. So now you can get foreign leaders leading on the UP. It makes it a lot, I think, interesting. I don't know about you, Tom, but this is one of the first non-UP leaders I got. This is a Canadian. This is at Belle Plaine.
Yes.
Yeah, on a coal train. And then about a train behind that had a KCS leader on a stack train. So.
Yeah, when the cab signal system was deactivated, they didn't waste any time.
No, they did not.
They're just like, run it. Whatever it is, send it, run it.
Run it. Yep. That makes things like colorful out here now.
It does.
Yes. Okay, then this is Illinois Railway Museum Diesel Days weekend, so I went there on Sunday. So this is just a couple photos from that event. This is, of course, the Nebraska Zephyr. And then behind that, we have an all GE consist with the BN U30C, the TTI U30B, which someday will get repainted into CB&Q colors. Mm-hmm. And then behind that is a XSP B40-8. And then you can see that first car. That's the Milwaukee Dynamiter car.
The Dynamiter. The Dynamiter was in the coal train.
Yeah.
That's and I'm not going to pronounce this correctly, the dynometer.
Yeah,
dynometer.
Something like
that.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah. But I even got a look in that car. It's pretty neat. Still has a lot of the old equipment in there and so forth. And then they put the QSD24 and the Northwestern 6847 on another train. So yeah, lots of interesting stuff. And Diesel Days is one of my favorite times to go over there because they have a lot of good diesels that they put on parade and put on a good show.
Yeah.
This is one of your old hangouts. This is Mason City.
Mm-hmm.
I was up here for a wedding that weekend. I DJ'd in Clear Lake. There's a lot of color around here at the house that day. KCS and some BNSF there.
Precursors to the merger.
That's right.
That's right. All that KCS power, you're going to see it everywhere here.
Yeah.
In about 6 months.
And if you go to the next slide, there's a place I used to hang out quite a bit when I used to go to Mason City a lot, way back when, in the 90s, the old Milwaukee Depot there. Spent a few hours in there visiting with a lot of great people and used to bring them coffee and donuts and then give me lineups and so forth like that. So
this is another building that is not long for the world either.
Yeah, I haven't heard any updates about it. Last I knew, it's still standing up there, but I don't think it's been knocked down.
Well, it hasn't, but so Bob Mullen, who runs the outfit in Charles City,
okay,
where they moved the depot there about 2 blocks.
Yeah.
Apparently, the folks in Mason City went to the same outfit that helped the guys in Charles City move their depot.
Okay.
And they quoted them about 3 times the price because of the larger size of the building here.
And,
and I think it was a total non-starter for them.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's
so
too bad.
If you have an opportunity to go visit this building, it probably won't last too much longer if I had to predict.
Yeah. And of course, I'd give a few rosters of the juice there parked out there by AGP.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then this is LTZ 16 at Mills Tower, coming back from Argonne.
Yes.
And, the standard 2 UP engine.
Yeah, 1477 and the 1106 on this day.
Yep. And then this was my first day on the job, so to speak, at the Boone and Scenic Valley. Before I went to work, they had this NPAL come into the yard at Boone, and that's the first Norfolk Southern leader I ever caught there on the main line. So. Yep. Now we get to October 3rd. This is a trip that Dana and I made up to Sioux Falls. So we chased the D&I on this day, on both Monday and Tuesday. This is just south of Westfield, coming into Iowa, out of South Dakota there. This is all ex-Milwaukee road trackage. Fun little railroad to shoot. This is at Westfield. And you can see the engineers holding that. That's a hat that he's holding out the window, and he threw that hat.
Yeah, it's a DNI hat.
Yeah, he threw it at me. He said, "Here you go."
Very nice.
I know. How often does that happen
Right.
anymore?
Well, if you want to go see an outfit that's still running around with SD40-2s,
Yes,
this is
the
one of
outfit
the few
to
places you can go.
and it's an easy chase.
Right. It's lots of 10-mile-an-hour track.
10 to 20.
Right.
Roughly.
And
Yep.
highway parallels it pretty well.
Yep. Oh yeah. And usually they're out of Sioux City about 9 o'clock in the morning, and they usually meet at Chatsworth or sometimes Hayward in there.
Yep.
So
Now they have mostly ex-Milwaukee Road track. They have some C&W
they do
track.
have, which you'll see here in a second here. So yeah.
Yeah.
This is north of Westfield, coming around the curve there. And these trains in the spring and summer, when the rock is moving, they're 80 to 100 cars a lot of days.
Sure.
Yep. So if anybody know where the Hawkeye Express cars went, that's where they went. Hayward in there. They stuck a couple LG Everest and DNI logos on each end. And from my understanding, they bought 2 cars originally. Now the other 4 cars are going up there eventually.
Right.
And they did a Santa train here in December out of Akron, where they put a diesel generator and a gondola back there, and then put an engine on each end, and did a couple of Santa train round trips. They're from Akron to Hayward.
They're going to have to take one of those SD40s and outfit it with head-end power.
I think they might have to.
Yeah, if they're going to keep this up.
If Tim Smith's watching, I hope he's listening.
Yes. But I had heard the same thing, that eventually they have 4 more of those Hawkeye Express cars. They're going to make their way out to
They will.
Sioux City.
Yep, eventually. Yep.
They will be something to watch for going across the CN, going west with those cars sometime next year.
Yep. Now we're south of Hayward with the southbound train there. A lot of
all those loads of rock you were talking about.
Yep. There's a lot of rock there. So
now this rock that they're loading in the open top hoppers, this is quarry rock.
Yep.
But it is it sold to other railroads for ballast?
Either ballast or construction for highway construction, because the quarry or the yard in Sioux City, there's a lot of truck traffic that comes in and loads a lot of that rock for like construction projects. Yes.
Yes.
Yep. So here's the meet at Chatsworth there between the north and the southbound. Basically, they just swap crews. They have a Del Rapids crew get on the northbound, and the Sioux City crew will get on the southbound, and they'll get moving back to their respective home terminals. And this is in Canton, South Dakota, which was kind of a big Milwaukee Road town at one time. So that line, the foreground, used to go all the way out to, I believe, Rapid City, and this train's going north up to Sioux Falls. So, and this is trackage that the state owns and the BN operates, and the DNI has trackage rights over.
Yeah, they have a. What are they? Is this the trackage rights to go up to Sioux Falls?
Yes, from here.
Right.
Yep. So we stayed in Sioux Falls that Monday night, and the next morning we got southbound, headed out of Sioux Falls. This is at Beloit, Iowa, just across the river from Canton. Headed south. Same train again along the highway there. And so we get down to Haywarden, and the DNI, they have the conductor will go in a pickup. So they go ahead of the train and so forth. And the conductors on both these trains are very friendly. They said, well, we're going to have our meet at Haywarden today. So we got the northbound coming into Haywarden, and now we're on the South Dakota side of the Big Sioux. You can see that's the northwestern track. This is the line that goes to Beersford, South Dakota. So they pulled the train down to the first crossing west of the bridge, tie it down, and then the crew will go over to get the southbound train in Haywarden there and take it south to Sioux City. And now that's the same train at Jefferson, South Dakota on the BNSF. So yeah, it's a fun little chase. So yeah, it's a good railroad. They're pretty friendly. You ask permission, they'll tell you what's running and where. So anyway, this is in Sioux City. That's the Sioux City switch engine, 5289, the Canadian Cab 40 there.
With the Canadian triangular class lights as well.
Yes.
Not something you see every day either.
No. Not every day. This is coming home from Sioux City. This is at Denison. This is a train that was parked there. I just kind of found it unusual to see a lot of power up there on the head end on a manifest train.
Mm-hmm.
You usually see it on Z trains, but not so much on manifest trains anymore.
Right.
Yeah. This is at Blairstown, Iowa. This is a train for the NS. You can see with 2 NS engines. It's stopped here for some track work on the west side of Blairstown. Here's another stack train going past the Belle Plaine Depot there. An 8700. And then the next weekend I went out to Carroll. I DJ'd a wedding out there. So this train's parked west of Grand Junction, waiting on a crew. This is parked there. And then if you go into Carroll, this is the ALNP train going around the curve just east of the Carroll Depot where we have your camera.
Yes.
Steel highway camera there. I always like to check that out.
Oh, yeah.
This is Sunday, the next day. I put a little black and white effect on this job. This is PRNP out by Ralston, headed west. And here's another unit grain train. This is at Ogden, right behind the fire station. This might be a good place for a camera Sunday too.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of open and so forth. And then they got another empty. This is another empty grain train, having BNSF trailing. So a lot of color on this day too. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is coming back from the train show in Iowa Falls. We're at Colo here, Dana and I, and 2 back-to-back Z trains, and they're both hauling, just like a streamliner of old.
Yep.
I think the first one was a Lathrop train. I think this was a Salt Lake City train right here. So,
okay.
Yeah. Okay, now we're up to November, and this was the day of the UP hospital train move. Now, originally, it was supposed to go on the UP to Nevada, then come down to Des Moines, then east on the interstate. Well, the train sat in Council Bluffs the day before, didn't move a wheel, and I had gotten word about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on that Thursday, the day before, hey, are you taking Friday off? I said, yeah. He says, well, it's going to go across the interstate now. So, got up early, and we caught up to the BICB. The first crew died on ours at Menlo. So this is the Council Bluffs switch engine crew got on this train. And now we're about west of Menlo, about milepost 406, 407 there. So we went out to Hancock and waited for the move. And it was just creeping along like everybody else. Probably doing 18 mile an hour, 20 mile an hour tops. But this is part of the Atlantic cutoff that the Rock Island built in 1953. Right. And this next year marks the 70th anniversary of the cutoff. And that might be something I might be doing an article about in the newsletter. So
Ed Dickens is sticking his head out
there. Ed's sticking his head out there. Yep, he is. So, yeah. So we've chased this train from here to Earlham, and we stopped at Atlantic. So this is just west of Atlantic, about milepost 447, 448.
Yeah. Now that BICB that you had caught earlier on the east side of Atlantic, they actually met in Atlantic this morning.
They did.
Yes. And these guys stopped to service there.
Yep. They
serviced the locomotives.
Yep. They did. They were there probably, 45 minutes, I want to say.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And we had a lot of the Omaha people that were there. There were some Des Moines people there, too, out chasing it. And some Illinois people were there, too. So then the train departed Atlantic, and then we followed it over to Earlham. And there was crowds in about every town, it seemed like. So this is Menlo, coming into Menlo there.
Yep.
And it's a little brisk out that day. It was a little cold, but...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ed's hanging out the window. This is at Stewart, going past the depot there. Nicely refurbished. And then this is right there going across Interstate 80 at Dexter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's at Earlham, and the light's starting to fade. But there's quite a few people here, too, waiting on it.
Yeah, it was 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when they finally...
Before it got to South Amana,
yeah.
Because I had my Malcolm friends ask me about it, and I think they didn't come through Malcolm until almost midnight. I think probably, yeah, it was midnight around there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so. Okay, this is December 4th. This is when the CP ran their holiday train down to Kansas City. So I went to Ottumwa, of course. Here come a sand train coming down the hill, and got a BN leader on the point. But the second unit was another one of those military engines I had not seen yet. So
Yeah.
I got a couple shots of that. I think that's the Air Force One, I want to say. Does that sound right to you?
Honestly, I am not very good at identifying these. I know that they all have the little tie there that says "Support our troops" on the nose.
Sure.
But I couldn't say for certain which
Okay.
one this is supposed
Somebody
to be.
will say something if they know
Yeah.
if it is. So that it's out at the other end of the yard there at the Ottumwa after the crew change. Another roster of it. So here's the holiday train, and this is after it backed off the yard track and then down the main line there. And there's a lot of CP police down there that day, of course. And I just simply asked, hey, if I stay off the track, can I go down the road there and get some rosters? They said, sure, why not? So took a few rosters of the train. And then if you go to the next slide, that, my friend was the engineer on that train. That's Keith Hawkins. Keith's dad was a Milwaukee Road trainman here in Cedar Rapids and Marion. And Keith's been with the railroad for a long time. He's going to retire next year, he tells me anyway. And then this conductor, Nathan, there on the right. So they took the train to Kansas City. So, yeah.
Okay.
So I had to get a few people shots in there, of course. And this is at Blakesburg at the south end there. And Keith got that train up pretty quick. So,
Yeah, I believe this day they performed in Ottumwa, and then it was just a deadhead move down to Kansas City.
No, they had a stop in Chillicothe, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Chillicothe was the next stop after that. So, yep.
Yeah.
And then Kansas City. So, yep. Neat looking train. Better at night, of course, but you know what? It still brings a lot of joy to old and new out there. So
Yes,
it does. And the final shot here, I worked 2 weekends in a row with the Boone and Scenic Valley, being a car host for their Santa trains, and both their Santa trains, those 2 weekends were sold out completely with families. I worked first class and did a lot of the announcing on there, and so I just thought I'd take my camera and get a little night photo of 6540 there at Boone after our last trip. So it was kind of fun to work. Had a lot of good time on there. So, and that basically, Tom, that wraps up my program for 2022. So,
all right. Well, nice work there, Dave.
Thank you so much, and thanks everybody for tuning in, and hope to see you sometime trackside in 2023.
Yes, and I have another program already pre-recorded that is going to be Rick Byrne with a trip to Mexico that he took in the mid-1960s.
Oh, that'll be exciting to see.
And there's some really rare stuff in there. That is going to be your February program for 2023. So that's what everyone has to look forward to coming up in February. So thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
And we are going to sign off. Everyone have a fantastic weekend.